I really wanted to talk to you specifically about this question because you follow geopolitics very closely. Like we do. You have your finger on the pulse, especially on the larger, bigger financial issues that are happening. What do you make of this latest kind of trade talks between China and the United States? I know you have a very unique perspective on this, and I kind of agree more with you that there's a lot more interplay here, that there's a lot more that works to the benefit of both of these interests that we should look into. But overall, what's your make of this larger trade kind of conflict that's happening between China and the United States right now?
Well, this is perfectly predictable and predicted by people like myself, but many, many others, from the inception of the Trump administration, which included China war hawks who openly talked about how, we're losing the trade war and blah, blah, blah. And those people have been appointed to key positions in the Trump administration, so it's no surprise at all. In fact, the only surprise is it took them this long to get to this point. This is ramping up of the conflict, and exactly as in the 1930s, for example, trade wars and trade rivalries certainly contributed to the factors that led to strife that ultimately resulted in war. That was part of what was going on in the 1930s. That might be a neglected part of that history because, there's other things that are more fireworky to concentrate on. But this is how wars often start. And there is a conflict that is being engineered. And that conflict, as I am at pains to point out every single time, that conflict is real. And there are real people who really are genuinely working for this national interest or that national interest, and they really are fighting against what they perceive to be the enemy in that country. But as you alluded to there, my main thesis is that over top of all of that, there is the globalist system, which does not care about America, does not care about China. It cares about the global system that's going to result from the smash up of the individual constituent pieces. And they are, I think, beyond and above this. And I wrote an editorial right before I went on vacation a few weeks ago that I think people should check out about China's suspiciously American arsenal, where all of these military weaponry, gadgets, drones, fighter jets, Humvees, everything that you can think of, are appearing in the PLA, the People's Liberation Army arsenal. And every single time there's these articles written by these mainstream normie websites. Wow, this looks just like the American version of this. There was even I think it was a Popular Mechanics article. Yes, Popular Mechanics, about it was some sort of weapons targeting system that the Chinese PLA Navy, I believe, was demonstrating, and the demonstration showed English readouts on this display, and they're saying, well, that's very strange. Either that means they're just using stock footage of American material, or they're literally somehow got actual American military software installed on these Chinese systems. How did that happen? It's because they are being fed this technology, and this is exactly the point. The rise of China would not have been possible without the 100% full complicity of the global backers of this system that are bringing China up exactly as they brought the Soviet Union up and propping it up in the new Cold War, which could become a new hot war. Who knows? I don't have the crystal ball, but that's the way things are going. And so the trade war is just sort of a stepping stone towards the next level of whatever engineered conflict they're coming about with.
It always historically starts with economic war, and it definitely looks like the perfect Thucydides trap that's being built up that happens throughout history when a challenging power goes after the main power. And of course, the United States is the main power, and China does have many goals to become a power in itself. But one of the things that makes me very critical, it's something that you talked about as well, is that in the 1960s, essentially David Rockefeller and Henry Kissinger went to China and pretty much opened it up to the world and say, hey, these guys have cheap labor, slave labor. We could get rid of expensive manufacturing jobs in the United States for the corporatist globalists and have it all made in China and ship it here. So they have a lot of their fingerprints on this. So this is why we should be skeptical and not seeing kind of Kissinger as the expert here. A lot of people in the media, because Kissinger's coming back in there, are painting, oh, yeah, Henry Kissinger, he's meeting with Trump again to talk about China. How great is this? I don't know. I wouldn't believe that at all. But again, we don't know if it's going going to be a Cold War or a hot war, but already economically there is a lot of tensions. But sadly, just like you said, the benefit of this is clear. It's not the people. It's not one individual country. It's the military-industrial complex. It's a lot of these globalists who don't have any allegiance to any specific country and benefit no matter which side, wins here. And sadly, a lot of people are being played off against each other and suffering because of this larger kind of divide and conquer.
Can I make one point before we go?
Of course, go for it.
There's a really important thing to note from this is that even in these staged and engineered conflicts, there are certain pieces of information that fall out from them that are important. And one of them is, for example, we see now the U.S. is fighting with China over the development of 5G and what companies are going to be rolling it out. And, you got to be aware of those evil Chinese with their Chinese 5G because they're going to be spying on everyone. They can use the weaponize 5G. Of course, all of the things they're talking about are equally capable if it's an American company than if it's a Chinese company. And, history shows, no doubt, American companies are weaponizing 5G and are ready to spy on absolutely all data. So they're revealing what 5G is really about because of the engineered conflict. Look, it's the evil Chinese doing this. But don't worry, you can trust the American corporations because we all know, the FANG companies would never lie to you. They're trustworthy all the way.
Yeah, the American corporations like Google that are working on a censored Chinese engine, they have a total allegiance to the United States. They're going to do everything just for the benefit of the United States and the people of the United States, right? Come on now. This is some absolute bull crap. And of course, 5G is being used by the U.S. military here. A lot of those long band weapons are registered with the U.S. military. And there's a whole big debate going on with Huawei and, of course, American carriers and the dangers and the safety is all this. But again, real life implications over something that we should question every day, because when I look at this, I'm like, we don't need this to be happening. Like there's a way to reach out with diplomacy, with just sitting down, with communicating that doesn't involve bunting heads with each other. I mean, one last question. Am I just too optimistic? Am I too much of a hippie to see that as a solution, that two people should come together and talk to each other and not just build up and ramp up the military industrial complex, waving their proverbial swords at each other, screaming at each other for no reason?
Yeah.
Am I
get what you're saying, and I agree with the principle,
yeah.
But you're putting it in the wrong way. Because, again, then that would be, we need the leader, Trump, to sit down with the leader, Xi, and then they can sort things out. No, we do not need the leader, Trump, or the leader, Xi, to sort things out for us. That's exactly the problem. No, we need actual free humanity freely interacting and transacting with each other without the corporate and governmental parasites over top of us and the banking parasites. Obviously, we're not anywhere close to that. That's very pie in the sky at this point. But hey, that's the real goal at the end of this is that, I don't have any beef with any particular Chinese person. It's that someone who claims to be my leader is claiming to have some beef with someone who claims to be the leader of the Chinese people. It's all nonsense. And unfortunately, it's just our mindset that's gotten us into this nonsense.
I set it right up and you knocked it out of the park. I couldn't agree with you any more than that. Amazing, great point. Yeah, stop giving your power to other individuals. This is why we're having a potential for huge geopolitical conflicts between world powers over stupidity of entrusting someone to have power over you. And it's all about you realizing, hey, I don't need someone telling me what to do and I can't do. I'm a human being. I have all the liberty. I have all the freedom. I have everything essential within myself to decide how I'm going to live my life. Very important, complex, not really complex. It's so simple. The answer and the solution, it's always just within us, and it's about us understanding it. And the first way of doing that is with communication. This is why there's such a targeted effect with trying to shut down James. This is why I haven't seen James's videos at all anywhere. I used to see him all the time. I don't see him at all anymore. You're most likely not seeing our videos, but because you share, because you're a part of this community, somehow we're still able to be here, and we're able to be here mainly because of you. And I want to thank all of you amazing human beings who support us and to allow us to continue, and all the amazing individuals who support James, because I love watching his content. Go support James. His link to his YouTube channel will be in the description. Definitely check him out.
No. Don't link to my YouTube channel. Link to CorbettReport.com.
Your website.
Stop using YouTube. Don't give them your power.
Okay, yeah, your website. We're using Brave, we're using Presearcher, we're using Steam. We're going off all in a whole bunch of different directions. Again, good point. Totally agree. Website. Sign up to our email list too. Do you have an email list?
I do. Yeah. It's on the sidebar of my website, CorbettReport.com.
All right. Yeah. We have an email list. That's the only real way now. Snail mail, like old school email to get in contact with each other. James, thank you so much for your points of view. Thank you so much for being here with us. Really appreciate you, and keep up the great, amazing work. And thank you, beautiful human beings, for being a part of it.